Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meet the Leadership. My name is Vikkturr, and I'm part of the media team here at EdgeGamers organization. I'm joined here today by Architect of Life. He has been a member since 2015, climbing the ranks to a leadership position in 2019, all the way becoming a senior manager of the Member Service Division. Architect, welcome. How you doing?
How's it going, guys?
All right, so let's get into this with the first question. At this current date of 2023, it's been 8 years since you joined EGO. What has changed in your eyes from the community from then until now?
Well, a big part of it has to be that there's a much bigger focus on games that don't have servers or places that aren't server-based. I mean, Discord is a server, but the transition from that to TeamSpeak is very clear, especially with how modular, accessible it is compared to TeamSpeak or even prior programs. We have things that we support, for example, that don't have even servers to them, such as Overwatch is a great example of this. Games have kind of trended towards that in general, and the community has been trying to capture that environment ever since, I feel. And that's probably the biggest change to the gaming landscape overall in the 2010s even that we've seen.
Yeah, I've noticed it went from more of a dedicated server base to, like gaming personal servers, like you said, Overwatch and things like that.
Yeah, and in general, just the kind of the lowering of requirements for someone. If an individual wanted to set something up, it's much more accessible these days, much more empowering to the individual if they want to create things, especially with the example of using Discord. Anyone can set up a Discord, and it's not like with Skype you kind of had this too, where you'd have individual groups. The boys come home from school, they hop on Skype, they can set it up as however they want. Skype didn't really have a lot of permission sets. TeamSpeak did. TeamSpeak was the mainstay for a long time because of that. But now Discord has really kind of taken a very big front image, a very big stake in that market, so to speak, because of its accessibility. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to really get involved in it at all. It has a very low barrier of entry, very low amount of commitment to set something up on your own, and that got a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't get involved in a community setting involved, I think.
All right. On a personal note, you speak 7 different languages, have a master's degree in both economics and accounting. How does that coincide with your leadership role in EGO?
For a lot of things, I would say the languages don't necessarily help, but it helps understand, we have a wonderful, wonderful individual on the team. Shout out to Beast the Ninja. He can speak Danish because he's a Dane himself. Sometimes I can speak with him, or another fella, Vikkturr Moto is Dutch, so I can speak to him. The languages don't particularly, I don't encounter much besides the general theme of trying to understand people who you might not otherwise understand. You could get into that whole aspect of learning a new language, and I encourage anyone listening, if you are considering picking up another language, do it. Absolutely do it. It exposes yourself to things that you wouldn't otherwise experience, new cultures, and just in general new ideas. And if anyone's out there English speaking, not to show for a specific language, but Dutch is incredibly easy. It's super close to English, like incredibly close. As for the degrees, in particular when it comes to ego, a lot of my how I've designed policies, how I've interacted with people has really come from my college experience in particular, and just the experience beyond. One of the things that I find most important about my experience in college was also the people that you meet there. It really is about developing your own skills at its core, but being able to meet the right people and having people teach you in different ways is a world of difference. Anyone can relate to this, I hope. Having a good teacher versus a bad teacher on a subject that you love can make you hate the subject or fall in love with it even more. And the same goes for the people around you in the classroom in that sort of setting. Especially on the higher end of education, you find yourself, you go from class to class, and as it turns out, you're with the same group of people every class, because there's only so many people who are going to fifth or sixth level maths. So how that relates back to EdgeGamers is that a lot of what you're going to be doing here in the community, if you're taking on a leadership role especially, but just if you're playing a specific game, you're going to encounter the same group of people time and time and time again. You're going to encounter the same individuals. And building those personal relationships and realizing that everyone out there has something they can teach you, whether you learn it from them by them telling you or by you observing them, is something very valuable to pick up as soon as you can in life. Wanting to learn and being able to learn just from the random people you meet on the internet is such a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I know we touched on this during the first question. As we said, games these days are starting to get away from the server-based aspect. So from a gaming perspective here in 2023, do you have any upcoming games that could be a great part of EdgeGamers community, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a really tough one. Now, real quick, can I just ask, you're able to stitch this so I can pause and check real quick, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the video editors can do that. So video editors, check it.
This, I would say Counter-Strike 2 is the big one. It really is a once-in-a-decade opportunity for the community to rekindle our appreciation for Counter-Strike and the legacy it's left, especially considering how the major structure, like the competitive major structure, is changing towards post-COVID. They switched to 2 majors a year, and now they're going to start next year in Copenhagen. There's going to be a major early next year in Counter-Strike 2. All majors moving forward are going to be in Counter-Strike 2. And I think that will drive a lot of the competitive environment, especially from the people who have sort of sat on the fence between transitioning from Counter-Strike to Valorant, may return to Counter-Strike 2 and find themselves pretty satisfied with what they see. It really is up in the air at the moment, the amount of gravity it will possess, but I think it's pretty easy to say that Counter-Strike 2 is probably the biggest splash that the community will see in a good long time, especially considering how large the Counter-Strike community is within EdgeGamers as it is right now.
Yeah, sounds good. And if I was to put my answer in, I would say hopefully, if they do this right this time, is Warhammer Space Marine 2. Because the first one did have a multiplayer system. It was kind of janky because it was all personal server based. It was like peer-to-peer almost. But if they do something like, hopefully, maybe like a dedicated server support, I think that might be a good one as well. But we'll see.
Now, you love 40K, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite faction by any chance?
Right now I have Death Guard, which is the Nurgle guys, and World Eaters, which are the Khorne guys. I have, little miniatures I paint every once in a while.
I gotta say,
all
I'm
about
a big
chaos.
fan of the Necrons just because I love the movie The Terminator, so you kind of can see the connection there.
Oh yeah. Necrons are awesome. All right, so the next question is, when you were promoted into your first leadership role, did you have any aspirations on climbing further in the ranks? And what was your thought process during that time?
So that would be in media in 2019, and that came in a time of transition for EdgeGamers, particularly with merging with a community in 2018. There was a bit of dust to settle over the course of the following year when it came to the culture of the community, and something that interested me was and still interests me to this day, is trying to create the best environment possible for young people to pick up skills that they will need in life, and community skills, social skills, leadership skills. And so, to answer the question of what my aspirations would have been at that time, absolutely I would have wanted to climb the ladder, so to speak, and help create that environment as best I can. Transitioning into a member services, which is a separate team, of course, from media, for those listening, it was sort of a more natural fit for me trying to enable new people, because member services acts as that face for the community, that front face that is sort of the man at the door, trying to make sure that the people entering are on the level, on some sort of quality. And so enabling people to enter who are only not a serial ban evader is a great way for me to help keep the people who are already inside the community a little bit happier.
Okay. And to tie in that question, for anyone that is now joining EGO as a new member and they want to be in a leadership role, what advice would you give them? And how would it be best advised to new members to climb the ranks to, let's say, maybe a community manager position?
So my best advice for someone who's just joining a community and is interested in growing and making the best of themselves, I would say get yourself involved very specifically in projects that interest you. And don't try to grasp at 20 different teams and attempt to do everything at once, because you'll find yourself only doing things that you don't want to do. If you have an interest in the arts, absolutely join media. It's a no-brainer. There are a lot of other things that are a little less clear, like if you like, for example, playing on our hit Jailbreak server, you might find yourself wanting to help train the admins. You might want to find yourself being part of the member services team to help figure out who's best to join the community. You might find yourself wanting to be an event coordinator because you like creating positive events and you want your buddies on the server to have a good time. But it is important to self-evaluate and find in yourself what makes you happiest and follow that path above anything else. What's good for the community is great and all, but what's good for you on a personal level is the absolute most important thing, and the sooner you can learn that, the better. Everything else comes secondary to that. Now, if you want to climb in the leadership ranks because you want to create that environment that you see in your mind, say you're an event coordinator and you want to eventually dethrone the one and only Majesty from Counter-Strike, as an example, you will have to find yourself creating really positive events and bringing some new ideas to the table. And you could say that about any other position too. You could say, if you want to climb the ranks or create new things, not even take from what already exists, but create new things. For an example, we were talking about Counter-Strike or Warhammer a little bit ago. If you have a great idea you want to see happen, that is probably the best way for you to demonstrate your skill and talent for being a leader in the true sense of the word. Because there is a ton of people who do work, but there's only so many who lead. And leadership, in that sense, is the most valuable thing that you can possess in this community and in real life. Having those social skills will carry you very far.
All right, that sounds really good. As we reach the end of this interview, this final question will reflect how everybody in the community views you. In your opinion, does pineapple belong on pizza?
Absolutely it does. I will double down. Fight me. I get pepperoni and pineapple on my pizza. I absolutely do. Some people say Hawaiian, get some ham and pineapple. I get pepperoni and pineapple, and I will fight anyone who says it's bad. I totally respect anyone who doesn't want pineapple. Totally.
Well,
I'm not willing to fight those. But if the question is, does it belong on pizza? Absolutely.
Well, you know, if you were in the Cyberpunk 2077 glitchy universe, you'd be arrested because apparently that's a felony.
I am a 5-count felon this year so far, it would seem.
All right, Architect of Life, thank you so much for joining us here at Meet the Leadership. Let us hear any comments, advice, and or any additional motivation talking points that you want to say to the community. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, I would say as of today, this is April 2023. If you're listening to it when it came out, I'm really excited for the future of the community. I'm really excited for the future of the world as it is. If you're just getting out of school or starting to get ready for the end of school, I'd say, again, pick up a skill, pick up a new language, go to the gym, try something new, maybe taste a new food. Pineapple on pizza, for example. Hey, and if you haven't tried that hit new thing, ChatGPT, give that a shot, because it might just help you figure out some things that you might discover you really have an interest in. It's like a personal assistant. Try new things above anything else. Experiment and figure out what you enjoy. That is my advice for you guys.
All right, Architect, thank you very much. My name was Victor here at the media team at EdgeGamers organization. Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and y'all have a good day. See you.